My name is Sara Greenfield. I teach third grade here at PS 321 in an integrated co-teaching classroom. And I love teaching. And so I'm very emotional right now because, as you can hear from everyone, these tests are kind of ruining what we love and the experiences that kids have. I became a teacher because of my own third grade teacher, actually, who taught me to love learning. Of course, my parents were involved in that too. But yeah, I learned to sew a raccoon pillow. I made spaghetti from scratch. We had a big spaghetti dinner. I remember also writing crazy picture books with Pegasuses and dragons everywhere. And, you know, it taught me to love school. And that's what I went into teaching for, so that I could also help my students love school. And if they didn't necessarily love school, there was always going to be something that they were going to love to learn about. And so what's really hard is that, well, testing and test prep doesn't inspire anyone. It doesn't inspire me, the teacher. It's the easiest form of teaching and the least inspiring. So I can open up a book and I can read something and we can go over the answers A, 1, 2, B. That's really uninspiring. It's uninspiring for every student in that classroom. When my kids walk in the morning, they look at our schedule and they go, writing, yes. Math, yes. Test prep, not one yes. There's no one in the room inspired. The other thing that really, for me, is what teaching is about experiences. So when we're studying, say, the world and continents and oceans, we are making papier-mâché globes and we're cutting out the continents and we're thinking about their relative sizes and how they fit together. And when we're studying China, we're going to Chinatown and we're going to a restaurant and we're using chopsticks and we're checking out the different stores and we're trying to identify some of the characters on some of the signs. Those are part of the curriculum. Those are not extra experiences. Those are core pieces of the curriculum. And that's exactly what gets cut out when people have to deal with test prep, more and more and more test prep. Especially in struggling schools where you hear 3 out of 5 hours are working on test prep during certain parts of the year. When you hear that starting in September, people are starting with test prep, those are the experiences that get thrown out. And so kids who struggle to put a piece of text in context, like, hi, tell me a little bit more about China. Remember when we went to Chinatown and we saw that store? Those are the things that make kids learn. Those are the things that help kids be excited about school. Those are the things that inspire kids to want to learn on their own. Those are the experiences that more and more of New York City kids are losing. And it's not fair, and it's not why I went into teaching. Again, as you heard from everyone here at the school, we feel really lucky because we have support to not kick those things out. If they were kicked out, I wouldn't be here because honestly, I'm not sure I know how to teach without those experiences. So what are high-stakes tests doing? What are they doing? They're uninspiring us. They're kicking out real experiential learning. They are stressing kids out. So that's the part that I want to focus on too. Again, I teach in an integrated co-teaching classroom. So I have 1/3 of my class is special needs and 2/3 of my class is general education. But everybody's stressed. We don't stress them. We're like, oh, don't worry about the tests. Don't worry. They walk in on the first day of school saying they're worried about the test. It's their first year they're ever taking it in third grade. Why are they so worried? Why are they so nervous? It's not coming from us. But that stress stays. So when I taught fourth grade ICT, when I first came to the school, and I've been teaching here for like 12 years or something, I try to not keep track anymore. But I learned to teach my children breathing exercises and yoga stretches, and what do you do when your heart starts to palpitate? What do you do when you get stressed out? Those are now part of my core curriculum. Do you really think that's what 8-year-olds need to be learning in school? Well, apparently they do. And they need to keep learning that every year because every year it gets more and more high stakes. Because after 3rd grade, it goes into 4th grade. That matters for middle school. It goes into 5th grade. Oh my gosh, where am I going to end up? How am I going to do? I don't even see the scores until October of the following year. So clearly they're not for me to learn where my kids are. I know where my kids are. So I want to come back to the special needs kids again, because the difference here is that everyone is stressed out, but certain kids in the class we know get extra stressed. They have anxiety issues. That's one of the reasons they have an individual educational plan, so that we can help figure out within the curriculum how to help them calm down. There's nothing I can do on testing days. Even if I write accommodations into their IEP so that they can say, take a break every 15 minutes, or have extended time, and I want to go back to that extended time. So I want to talk, okay, if I have a child with ADHD who has a hard time sitting for 10 minutes at a time, suddenly they now have 2 to 3 hours to take a test. Even with 15-minute breaks, I want you to think about what that stamina is like. There is no way they have the stamina to make it all the way through that test the way they began that test. I barely have time. I can barely do that. So we are pushing something on kids who we know need something different, and yet we're giving them the same. And there's nothing we can do about it. And as an educator, I want you to imagine you love these kids. This is like my family. They are my family. On this day, let's imagine me in a room with 12 kids who are stressed, confused, anxious, and bored to tears. And we're stuck in this room, and all I can do is be like, it's okay. Remember those breathing exercises? Stretch a little bit. Are you ready for your 15-minute break? Like, there's nothing I can do to help them really through this experience. So, uninspired, bored, confused, frustrated, completely stuck, and not teaching a love of learning. And how much of our curriculum gets thrown out for this? How many other things do I want to do? Do I want to make apple crisp, which I did last week with my class, because we were working on multiplying, doubling, and quadrupling a recipe. Do I want to make apple crisp with them? Yes, that's exactly what I want to do. That's not what I can do. Because is it fair to throw them into a test that they've never seen before when they have so much riding on it, when I now have so much riding on it, when the school now has so much riding on it? It's just not fair. The other part of this is that, I love kids and I love teaching and I love the age that I teach and older. I am definitely an upper grade teacher. But I don't want to leave 3rd grade because it only gets harder in every other grade after this. So when Rhonda says, yeah, her colleagues don't want to teach 5th grade, it's kind of true because it only gets more stressful for us in the room knowing what we're putting the kids through. It does feel like child abuse. So our teaching time is so precious. We are spending so much time just trying to figure out how to fit everything in. The amount we want to teach compared to how much time we have is like, you're just crammed all the time. Test prep is a waste of our time, and yet we have to do some so that kids don't feel as stressed as they might walking in, knowing that it means so much to them in their future. So why am I here? Well, projects, field trips, and real hands-on learning is what makes kids love learning. That's what elementary school is about. That's what it should be about. It should be about fun. Your kids should be happy to go to school in the morning. And standardized tests, these high-stakes tests, they hinder this love. They hinder it for me. They hinder it for them. Dead, bored eyes? No, this is not what Alex was talking about with the aha moments and the light bulbs. When light bulbs flash above kids' heads, there's nothing like it. You know as parents that there's nothing like it. That's why I'm here. At this point, it's a luxury for most New York City teachers to choose to take their class to a dance performance instead of read about a dancer and answer multiple choice questions about that dancer. We remember our best and worst experiences in school, all of us. We could probably right now, everyone's going, oh yeah, that was my favorite teacher. Oh yeah, that teacher was awful. You have no idea what's in between. We want the best experiences for our kids, all of us. With testing in nearly every grade and with so much riding on test scores, what are our kids going to remember when they are adults? How can we stay this course when we know that it's not enhancing our learning environment, but rather it's hurting our kids, stressing them out, making us all, this entire room included, anxious and bored? So please, let's all work together and change how we use these scores so we can go back to what education is all about: engagement, curiosity, and the love of learning.